Good morning, everybody. I am so grateful that you have found us here at St. John United Church of Christ in Cumberland for our third Reframing Advent study, looking at Advent through art this season. It's an adjustment to our normal Sunday morning Sunday school devotions, but don't worry, if you love the Still Speaking Writers group and it is your absolute favorite, it will be back as soon as we make it through this holy season of Advent, our second Sunday of Christmas, our first Sunday of Christmas, which will be the Sunday after Christmas. We will be returning to those writers who we love so dearly. But for this season of reflection, this season of study and introspection, we are trying something new and different. Because it is the challenge of Advent to find ourselves a little off balance, a little off kilter as we study how God is with us, how God is calling us to a prophetic vision, to a participatory faith, and to a peaceful world. So for all those reasons, we're trying something new. We are inspired this season by the Imagining the Word series published by the United Church of Christ, and we give thanks to John Kruger, who brought all these to us. He's an amazing human being. This morning, we have a really interesting piece of art. You can find it in the post that came up at 8:30 this morning, right before this video. So if you're watching it, just go ahead and minimize the video, send it to the side, and click on that link. You can always listen through this reflection and then click on it after and answer the questions as well, whatever is more comfortable for you. This morning's art is from Hildegard of Bingen, a fantastic human, an incredible saint, an amazing author and artist. But she's not around anymore and hasn't been for a long time. She's from the 12th century, producing art and thought that has changed the course of our faith. This morning's called Lucifer's Fall, which is so interesting. You'll find it to be a rather abstract depiction. It appears that there are golden stars in a red frame, and then an outpouring of what I think of as snow, but maybe you see as ocean or grass, who knows what kind of land, and different colored black stars falling, one with a golden center. It's a picture that requires us to think and reflect. So I offer you this poem from Madeline Ingalls to aid our reflection. God did not wait till the world was ready, till the nations were at peace. God came when the heavens were unsteady and the prisoners cried out for release. God did not wait for the perfect time. God came when the need was deep and great. God dined with sinners in all their grime, turned water into wine. God did not wait till hearts were pure. In joy, God came to a tarnished world of sin and doubt. To a world like ours of anguish and shame, God came. God's light would not go out. God came to a world which did not mesh to heal its tangles, shield its scorn. In the mystery of the world made flesh, the maker of stars was born. We cannot wait till the world is sane to raise our songs with joyful voice, to share our grief, to touch our pain. God came with love. Rejoice, rejoice. It's a poem that I think you should read over and over and over again, and so you will find it in that link with the art. Because it is such a word of wisdom. So often we think that everything has to be perfect before we can start the celebrating. We spend a lot of Advent time getting ready for Christmas to make sure everything is perfect and prepared, that everything is correct and in its place. Because once all the work is done, then we can celebrate. But this poem reminds us that God does not wait for perfect. God does not wait for everything to be in its place. purely and totally the opposite. The world is a chaotic mess. It was, it is, and it seems that it will be for a time to come. If you don't believe me, check any news source at any time. The world is a rupture of crazy, wild experiences. But God did not wait for everything to calm down and be easy. God did not wait for everything to make sense. God entered right into the thick of the experience. That's what's so powerful about this season of preparation, this season of Advent where we acknowledge that things have not settled down. Things are still overwhelming, chaotic, frenetic, and wild. And yet, in the midst of that, we are called to prepare for a God who is with us and who will be with us and who was with us. See, this whole season is about the history, the mystery, and the majesty of God. We remember the history of our story, God's historic coming in the Christ child. We remember the mystery that God is still with us now, and the majesty of God's coming kingdom over all. But see, that history, mystery, and majesty does not in any way happen once everything is already wrapped up with a bow. It's only in the chaos that magic, mystery, historicity comes to being. And so when we look at Hildegard of Bingham's art this morning, the golden stars falling, mixing with the black stars, but maybe it is in fact the case that the black stars are rising. In a picture that is abstract as this one, it's up to you, the viewer, to decide how to interpret it. Is it in fact that things are falling at all or rising as opposed to mixing? Is the perfect piece of one mixing with the chaos of others? Is it the case that as they meet, they become transformed? For me, that's what I see. I see this one star that is different than all the other stars, where it has a sense of golden light, but it is also covered in shadow. And that star is the star that exists right in the middle, reminding us that we don't wait for the peace and the joy for everything to make sense, but that instead we are two things at once. We, as God's creatures, are chaotic and wild and frenetic, and light-filled and joy-filled and hope. And that we are called to rejoice, to proclaim God's presence in the midst of that chaos. We are called to follow God into a sense of presence that God did not wait. God did not wait for the perfect in order to enter our lives. Therefore, we cannot wait for all things to be ready to proclaim God's presence here on earth. We, in fact, have to get busy preparing ourselves and our world already, while acknowledging that in the middle of our preparation, God is already here. Because you see, that sense of both and, two at once, doesn't really make sense. It's that feeling right there. That feeling of everything mixing and becoming totally overwhelming and not really making any sense. The estuary of fresh and salt water that is Advent. On week 3 of Advent, we come to its core, a season of rejoicing of God's coming, also holding God's broken world. This is the space to realize that we may never be fully ready for God's presence, but that God doesn't wait for us. God comes to us as we are, just as we are. For we are enough as we are to receive our God. Christ is born again anew each year into a broken world. It is not ready to receive, but yet cannot live without. So I have two questions for you this morning. Question one, is your Advent one of calm expectation or chaos and energy? And then why? Always why. And question two, how do you see God in the state that you are? If your world has been one of peace and calm, where do you see God's energetic movement in that? And if you have been a little more frenetic, a little more energetic, where do you see God's peaceful presence in your Advent? How do you embody both and? Unprepared presence. If you haven't had a chance yet, now is the time to go find those links and click on it, to reflect on Hildegard's painting, to reread Madeleine Engle's poem over and over again before you join us for worship at 10. This morning's worship will be of a wholly different kind, for this morning is Cantata Sunday, and it shall be a beautiful worship of song and story. We haven't had a cantata here in a long time. We've never had one in the new building, so it will be something to behold. I so hope that you will make time to be with us, and if you can't, that you absolutely rewatch it as the video comes up on our different streams, YouTube and Facebook, for it shall be absolutely beautiful. So I'll see you right back here at 10.